Antlers, assumptions, and artillery. Oh, it's so scary. Hold me. Holly teases him as the white-painted, treaded vehicle with massive front turret comes rocketing around the corner of the arcology. No one told me the garage boys were working on a tank prototype. Bjorn notes as it rolls up. XR0001 is on the side in pale tri-type blue. It's not painted on but made of deliberate gaps in the white paint. It straightens up and Bjorn tilts his head as he sees something odd on the tip of the barrel. It looks like someone's tied a board on the tip and put something on top of it. As the tank zooms closer, Bjorn outright laughs when he sees what it is. Someone's put a pint of beer on the edge of the turret. That it hasn't spilled despite the tank zooming around the arcology is one hell of a recommendation to the stability of the main cannon. It zooms up at an appreciable speed and then slows down as it reaches them, cannon turning as the upper hatch opens and a fellow soldier pops out. Woo! We're slapping an armored division together! The man cheers as the cannon rotates to point right at Bjorn. They still haven't spilled the beer and he can only applaud as it comes closer. A plan percolating in his mind. Great to see, gents. Great to see. He confirms before making a lunge and grabbing the stein off the cannon of the tank as it passes by. Cheers! What the? Hey, put that back. The guy poking out the top protests even as the tank starts accelerating again. Come on, let's get inside before they come back around, Bjorn says with a massive grin on his face as Holly giggles at the goofy move. He then takes a sip of the foamy brew and his eyebrows go up. Whichever still they pulled this one out of, they've clearly done something right, as this is a good lager. There's the sound of an engine shifting gears and the tank swings around. Seeing that there's no way he's getting away without a dead sprint, Bjorn simply opens his throat up and pours the beer straight down, leaving only the foam. You're a dick, the guy in the tank says as Bjorn finishes the drink and then puts the mostly empty stein onto the tank cannon. Yes I am. Bjorn returns as the guy just stares at him for a bit. Come on, let's get inside before they think about actually using the cannon. Wow, just wow, Holly says as she follows Bjorn inside. You're never like that with girls. Of course not. Get even slightly playful with civilian women, and they throw themselves at you while declaring their undying love. Oh, so I'm the only girl for you? Holly asks, fluttering her eyes, and Bjorn rolls his eyes. You're still under our protection. I don't have time for other girls. I'm keeping you safe. He replies evenly. Oh, you always know how to flatter a woman, Holly says, leaning over and pushing her boobs against him. She had completely embraced the local fashion of leotards and body stockings, coupled with the huge heads of hair, and it was like the 80s with ray guns and alien babes. Yay, sure, he replies with a roll of his eyes. Now, I've had a bit of a drink and dinner is a couple of hours away. Is there anything on the schedule that you need to get to? I'm fairly certain you've got a free day. Holly says, pulling out her communicator and scanning it. Nothing until well after dinner, then I've got a small horde of go-bees who want some help getting their workout schedule put together and organized. All right, so where to next? Well, it would be nice to get a drink. You did, after all, guzzle down that one and didn't even offer to share. The alcohol level would have at the very least dropped you, if not outright killed you. It would have tasted like vomit, and Bjorn begins to protest before Holly pulls him close to shut him up. Such a romantic, so concerned for my health. Why do you humans like alcohol so much? Peer pressure to drink it and then you get used to it, Bjorn asks, as he slowly pries himself away. Easier said than done when the woman is made of titanium with a soft fur coating. Really? I heard one of the nerdy ones say that it was a way to purify fluids in the days of antiquity and it just stuck around as a hobby, Holly asks. Maybe? I'm not a big history buff, Bjorn says as he finally gets enough distance to duck out of her grip. Wrestling with Holly or any of the formerly persona-nailed women is like trying to outmuscle a hydraulic press. Not happening. Not without Axiom, at least. Still, if we're going to have a drink, there's this lovely juice bar I've heard about that makes a point of having ingredients from at least 3 different systems in every glass, Holly says. And what's it called? Bjorn asks, and she thinks. She opens her mouth to answer and then closes it. I forget, but it's on the 3rd commercial level. That's where I saw it. Holly replies, and Bjorn thinks back. They were up there 2 weeks ago when she wanted to hang out with some friends she was making. He had been in the background, but frequently gestured towards and giggled at as they all spoke. It wasn't a secret at this point that he's her bodyguard or that in raw muscle she could twist him like a pretzel. They head over to the stairs and start their way up. Bjorn didn't mind and actually appreciated the cardio, and Holly was in such shape that she found it just as practical as the elevator, if not a little better as the stairs were faster. So, Holly begins as they start climbing up. The commercial floors are every 5 floors. So, Bjorn asks, and Holly considers. Why are you making armored and weapon-bearing ground vehicles here? Zalwar isn't at war, and the Undaunted aren't on the offense with anyone. It's not, but it is at an amazing location for shipping out. It's right on one of the major Axiom lanes and nearby where several others come close. This means it's a wonderful central location to put up a manufacturing plant to produce the munitions and supplies to ship out all over the galaxy. From what I understand, we're wrangling the rights to set up an arcology of our own. I think I heard about that, a training center and production plant? Yes. We're getting a lot more recruits than expected. We need more room to train and build things. Not to mention when we got those absolute madmen to start playing the galactic stock market, they worked some kind of black magic and started all but stealing from the galaxy. At such an obscene rate, it could only be legal, and they needed more cash sinks to pour all the money into. So, land and building permits on one of the more populated and well-traveled planets the galaxy over is just the start. That money is pouring into advertisement, recruitment, R&D, and several massive conglomeration care packages being sent back to Earth. So obscene it can only be legal? Holly asks with an odd look on her face. Steal millions or less, and you're a thief. Steal billions of more, and you're in government. Bjorn replies with a bit of a grin. Well, aren't we cynical today? What happened to my sweet, innocent little Bjorn who would comfort me on lonely nights and take me clubbing? What? Bjorn asks, and Holly sniffs theatrically. No, really? What? He presses, and she giggles. Holly, there's coming on strong, and then there's coming out of left field. When the hell have I ever been sweet and innocent? Well, I don't even get up to pee without at least a handgun. Oh, but those magical moments where your sleeping face is all cherubic and kind. My dreams are filled with battle and glory. That innocent expression is the satisfaction of my enemies rent to pieces before me. Really? Holly asks. Really? You really dream of blood and battle? I mean, sometimes. I normally don't remember my dreams, but Vikings are a part of them a fair few times. I suppose it could be worse than you, dreaming of being naked and screaming in the throes of passion. At least it means I know things are going in the right direction. Holly teases, and he scoffs just as they crest up onto the 15th floor, and therefore the 3rd commercial floor. As they step into the area, they're passed by a Lyrak man walking at full tilt, his tail stiff and irritated as a gaggle of women follow at a fast clip. Several of them peel off and approach Bjorn when they see him. Well, hello there, Mr. Tread in Leather. How are you doing today? I'm rather busy, ma'am, on the job, in fact. Bjorn replies, and Holly swoops up behind him and gives him a hug. Ma'am, I am on the job. Yay, job of watching me, which means he's with me, he's mine, and you can all just screw off. What? Oh, come on. One woman to one man? That's just greedy. The girls protest, pushing in and staring. Fair or not, I have a duty to perform, and Miss Clatterhooves is correct. I am her bodyguard. Therefore, I have no time for any such frivolities, Bjorn says, and Holly sticks her tongue out at the other girls. Oh, I'm sure we could make you forget all about your duties. One rabbi says, pushing up her breasts with one set of arms before reaching out with her remaining left hand to caress his chin. Miss, I am on the job. I will shoot off my dick before using it while on duty. No need to go that far. Besides, there are so many better things to do with something like that. One of the lyric woman says, pushing up next to her rabbi's friend as the other two step up as well. Bjorn is literally surrounded by gigantic breasts attached to gorgeous and eager women at all sides, and he can't do anything with any of them because of his job. Life is truly, grossly, disgustingly unfair. Hey Irma, Lils, Salas, Vera, what's going on over there? Another man. Mr. Dutiful in black leather here won't do anything while he's on the job. One of the lyric calls to the crowd and more peel off to join their friends. No, he's mine. He's with me. My bodyguard. Mine, Holly says, grabbing onto Bjorn from behind and glaring at the women. That was not the way to defuse this situation, Holly. Bjorn sighs. You can't just keep one man to yourself. It's just wrong. The rabbis protest, grabbing at Holly's arm and yanking to no avail. Several others all try the same thing, but the immensely well-toned Carib is completely unmoved. Stop using axiom. Look at her antlers. They're dull. She's not using axiom. What is she made out of steel cable and stone? Enough, Bjorn barks out in his DI impersonation. I told you, ladies, that I am on the job. Therefore, I am on the job. What is your major malfunction that you cannot comprehend this? What? But she is a teasing civilian. You fell for the most basic of taunts from an overgrown child. Hey, I am on duty. Not you, not her, and not your damn goddesses of lust are getting so much as a tickle out of me until I have come off duty, and that is a guarantee. Is that understood? But, one of the lyric protests. Is that understood? Bjorn snaps again. Yes? Yes what? Yes, Mr. Man? It's sir. Yes, sir. Repeat it to me now. Yes, sir. Good. That's better. Now disperse civilians before I am forced to take your actions as hostile towards the individual I am charged to protect. But now, Bjorn snaps and the small crowd scatters. He then turns to Holly. You will now remove your appendages from my person. Holly just stares at him for a moment before he grabs her hands and infuses his arms with axiom to give himself the sheer force needed to force her grip apart. She smirks in response. And what is your major malfunction? You can't threaten me. You're in charge of keeping me safe. I can lock you in a bunker to keep you safe, civilian. He snaps, frustrated at the situation and on a tear. Oh, kinky. There is no kink about it. Let's agree to disagree.